All right, welcome everyone. Excited to have everyone here today. My name is Matt Denny, and I'm with NavalX out of the United States, and I'm going to bring in a couple of our special guests. Today, I have got on my right, maybe your left. I've got from the United States Navy, Assistant Secretary of the Navy for Research, Development, and Acquisition, James Hondo Geurts. How you doing, sir? Doing fantastic. Excited to be here. And from the UK Royal Navy, we have got Second Sealord and Deputy Chief of Naval Staff, Vice Admiral Nick Hine. How you doing, sir? Excellent. Well, with that note, Secretary Ertz, I'm going to pass it to you, and you've got the ball. Uh, hey, sir, I got to reset the sound. If you can give me 1 second, I'm going to reset something. 1 sec. Okay, you are good to go.
Matt, thanks very much indeed. Hondo, great to see you again. Thanks very much indeed for having me here. Real privilege. And nothing is more important than this. As you say, a few short weeks ago, we launched the Tech Bridge, and here we are. We're having this conversation. This is testament to the fact that we can do things together. We can do it agilely, and we can do it quickly. And therefore, more of the same, please, from everybody that's out there. People keep telling me that technology is going faster than ever, and it's running away with us. So if that's the case, this is just about the most important thing that we're trying to achieve. I can't imagine doing it with a more important partner than we have. We share just about everything as we go forward here. This is another opportunity to do more together. And when Hondo talks about interchangeability, that's exactly what we mean. We mean the ability to do things seamlessly together as we go forward. This is a really exciting initiative. Really pleased to kick it off. If I'm being honest, we're strong on theory, not very heavy on the detail yet. That's only to be expected. But the fact that we've done this in weeks gives me confidence that we're going to go from theory to detail really quickly. So great to be here. Thank you very much indeed for inviting me. And Hondo, let's have a sort of back and forth, and then perhaps we can open it up to people to give us some questions, if that's all right. Over.
Yeah, no, that would be good. So you guys, I've been impressed watching kind of your theory of the case and how you're transforming kind of not only the thinking but practices over there. We're learning lots from you, and I think the teams have been sharing. What's kind of either surprised you, or where do you think the biggest opportunities are that you guys are trying to capture, and what's kind of exciting you of what you've seen over the last year? It's we are both dinosaurs, but I think we're both positively discontent. We understand that. We got optimistic attitude, but understand we got a long way to go to get there, and are frustrated by things that get in our way to get there. What's kind of your sense of how things are going, and opportunities that are in front of you or for us that we can kind of seize.
Thanks, Hondo. So you're absolutely right. I won't talk for you, but I struggle with an iPhone, so I'm not speaking for all of my team. There are much better people qualified than I am to talk about the detail. But the two things that really interest and excite me, one is data. So we've got to get to the data question. We won't be interchangeable if we can't exchange data, and we can't do that right across the piece. And you and I have talked about that before. We're working really hard on shared data standards, shared data conversations, and how we do that. And then I think the second thing is how we get to a lethality conversation that's different from the one that comes before. Because I don't think, and we can get ourselves involved in all kinds of exchanges where we can buy the latest of the latest thing that was the latest of the thing we had previously, and it's got go faster stripes, and it's a bit more sophisticated, and it's a bit more expensive, so we can afford a few less. And therefore, I don't think that's the conversation we need to be having. That what is going on in the commercial world far outstrips our ability to keep up. So I think this opportunity here is for us to then say, as we learn from you, you have scale and mass. We might be able to sort of help with some niche and some small parts of that where we can take on ideas, etc., and we learn from them together. But we shouldn't be doing it twice, and we shouldn't be duplicating activity else, across the Atlantic. That's just crackers.
Yeah, I think one of the things I've observed, you don't have to be the most innovative person to create the conditions for innovation to occur. And I think that's part of what we're trying to do here with tech bridges and whatnot. Not dictate the answer, but create the opportunities where we can get kind of that return on collision and put things together that in the past may not have naturally come together, but give us kind of a new opportunity. Given that it's a holiday season, I like to remind folks that the artificial Christmas tree was actually invented by a company that built toilet bowl brushes. And they saw the toilet bowl brush and figured out if they cut it in half, they can create an artificial Christmas tree. So it's really interesting. The thing I've had to learn as a leader in this is not to try and over control it, and not try and dictate and create this prioritization list, and but really invest in the people and the system, and then let the opportunities flow out of there. We're seeing that in our tech bridges, and then creating this whole new working at network speed with you guys opens up whole new boundaries. I mean, it's hard enough in the U.S. for a company to figure out who to talk to in the Navy. If there's a U.S. company to figure out who to talk in the Royal Navy with, it's that's multiplied by pi and divided by 0, and likewise on the other side. So I think it's about creating these scalable platforms and then watching it go. One thing we're interested in is also then how do we pipeline that into actual deployed forces? Because I think we've all suffered sometimes from the over investing in discovery and theater and not actually making a difference to sailors on the line. Have you guys started thinking about that? I mean, that's an area that's a little bit of a struggle for us. But getting the operational force involved is starting to help that way. Have you guys, what's your thoughts on that, or do you see a similar challenge on your side?
Thanks, Arnold. So I think you're right. I mean, I think there's a couple of things there. One is the challenge is the same, but it's a different scale for us. Mm-hmm. Clearly, you've got a bigger pipe to get to more places than we have. But as we bring on the carrier, etc., and the F-35, I think that's the same problem we're all going to have, and we're going to have to figure it out. And if we can do that jointly, that's just so much more straightforward and more efficient. I think everything we're doing is frontline focused. I'm okay with failure. I'm okay as long as we go through this and we learn some lessons and we move on. The worst thing ever in these conversations is we wait forever to get the 99.9% solution. 80-20 is okay. 60-40 with growth potential I can live with. I can even go with 50-50 if you've got a plan. But I want to go fast. And my team, and you've heard me say this before, let's go faster. And whatever speed you're going at, double it and add a bit, because that's not fast enough. And then I think the final thing I would say in this frontline problem that we've both got, we've got to move what's necessary, not what's possible. because otherwise we'll just end up moving data around the world, and that's not the right answer. I need to move stuff that is of the right fidelity for the decision maker at the right time in order for him or her to make the right decision, not just download the entire known universe in one go and then expect somebody to pick it up. And that's not for any reason other than the selfishness of that just means we need less pipes and we can move more data and more with better latency. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. Absolutely. I mean, we used to have an old saying in special ops world of, I don't need the most cutting edge technology, just the most useful. And so I think sometimes we also, if we're not careful, limit the scope of thinking of where collaboration can really make a huge difference. You know, existing date, available today technologies that can help us maintain ships and reduce the cost and the people and the time and all that is just as important, I think, to both of us as the new modernization thing. Because if we can't figure out how to get our speed and cost down on in-service support and modifying in-service stuff, well, we will both suffer from not having the money available to invest kind of in the new tech for new ideas. And so I'm hopeful here as we think about tech bridges, it's not just technology, newest technology for newest problems. It could be existing technology used in a new and creative way to solve a problem we've had for a long way, or create a new resource for us as we go forward. Because, with everything going on in the world and all the pressures economically and COVID and everything else, this is not, we've got to have an abundance mindset and figure out how to get the most out of every dollar, minute, person we have. And so if you're out there in the tech bridge land, there are certainly technology priorities we have, but don't make that a limiter to bringing ideas to us, because I think there are plenty of day-to-day problems, day-to-day sailor problems, either making things more safe, more effective, easier on them, that would be equally as interesting to us. That's certainly some of our perspective. Nick, do you see the same thing from your side, Nick?
Yeah. And I was just going to say, the three legs of the stool that we're trying to get after, lethality is the one that we talked about, but I've got availability and sustainability. Anything that we can do to make my platforms more available and more sustainable at reduced cost, I'm all in for that. So this is not all about space monkeys with lasers, much as I might want space monkeys with lasers, but this has got to be about the conversation that says, how do I keep my existing platforms going? How do I make them more available, more sustainable? How do I make them more lethal? As well as looking at all the new stuff that says how we might do things in a different way. Because if we don't, then the cost of doing business just keeps going up. Money is finite, it always is. There's never enough to do all the things we want. The more I can break out of the program, of the existing program, the more we can invest in these things that are really important. And these are, I think, absolutely necessary activities. And then if you multiply that by the two of us, and you say where we could do that together, then actually, I want to get to 1 + 1 = 3, and I know you do.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Now, for those maybe who haven't heard, the Chief of Naval Operations here in the First Sealord kind of signed out this rather bureaucratic sounding warfighting statement of intent, which actually is pretty darn exciting, but may not be known to everybody else. What's your take on that, Nick? What excites you about it? I think it's we've always had a great relationship and very close relationship, but that's kind of a seminal visionary document, I think, with practical implications. I think this tech bridge is one of them, but maybe for those out there who haven't seen that, from your perspective, what do you think? Where do you think that's headed, and what other opportunities might you see from that?
Thanks again. So I think the really interesting thing is that seminal shift from interoperability to interchangeability. And that might sound like not very much other than semantics, but it's really key, I think, for what you and I are talking about. It's not the ability to talk to each other on radios or drive around ships in formation. It's the ability to have weapons and sensors that are operated and controlled by each other in each other's platforms in a completely different way that allows us to be like for like. We've done that already. The great support we've had from the US Marine Corps with F-35s going into QE for Queen Elizabeth IV, CSG-21. That is interchangeability by design, that they are absolutely the same jets with the same type of pilot, with the same weapon systems and the same feed. So that I think is a massive shift from all of the things that we've done over years, which is a really good bedrock. I think if I was being really excited about the stuff that we need to get into, we clearly are both into we're trying to get into the autonomy space. We're trying to drive people out of the loop and further back. We're trying to get to a conversation that says, how do we get more value for money? How do we get more bang for our buck? And those conversations are in the warfighting space. But as you said earlier, they're all about delivering parts of that jigsaw as we go forward. And I'm really keen that the tech bridge, we don't have it's rather like if we're doing a jigsaw and we don't have the picture, right. What I want as many pieces of the jigsaw as we can put down, because then we stand the best chance of putting the picture together. And that's between you and I on the existing programs. And it's for the tech bridge to come up with bits of the jigsaw that we haven't yet seen or indeed yet thought of that we can then implement. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, it does. And I think, again, tech bridge, maybe by its name, sometimes, underlines technology a little bit. There's a huge human element to this. And the one thing that, democratic free societies will always have a competitive advantage is being able to bring people together in a collaborative fashion, not in a coercive fashion, and kind of, as you say, get this leverage. And so, from my perspective, what we're looking for, are folks who want to integrate in here from wherever they come, not just, in fact, the more and diverse, the better. And really the kinds of folks I want to, and I hope we can excite and attract and leverage are those that, they kind of have the curiosity to explore, the humility to learn, and the boldness to act. And so if you're a person that's got those kinds of traits, you don't have to be an expert in the U.S. Navy or in the Royal Navy or in AI or in something else. If you're interested in teaming, I kind of call it the return on collision. You've got that curiosity, that drive, that want to make a difference. Then I think this is another and new and exciting way to get you involved in the mix. And then, we'll challenge each other with prize challenges and lots of different techniques, not just kind of supplier, customer, tender kind of thing. This, I think, will open up, as we try and open up our kind of vision for the future from a warfighting standpoint, it's only going to be as strong as our ability to leverage all the diverse ideas out there, all the different takes on things, and value them for the idea and kind of not where they come from. And that's where I think we've really got, this becomes a difference maker, not just, another layer of icing on the cake. It can be a transformative difference because, quite frankly, I think both of our navies in the past have struggled with really leveraging the full talent pool and idea pool that's out there. At least that's my take. And then now we multiply it by our unique perspectives, but with a common goal. And then I think we're running with speed. That's what I'm hoping we get out of this, and why I'm keen on doing this. Why we move so fast, I think, together on it. And what you guys are doing, I think, are a fabulous addition. And really exciting ad. But is that I think we're pretty well aligned on it. Anything else kind of from your view, sitting on the top of the Royal Navy chain here?
I wish that was true, Hondo. You know that. But if I could just sort of reiterate what you're saying, we've got a big push over here on diversity of thought. Because we're not going to win and we're not going to be competitive unless we start to think about things in a different way. And our typical linear procurement capability processes are not fit for purpose. So we have to think about this in a different way, and that's from first principles, from what we do, how we do it, what we buy, how we buy it, how we experiment, how we test, how we evaluate, how we do all of those things. We've got to think through in a different way. And we're doing that with you, and that's absolutely, I think, the way forward. I think if I could sort of say something to everybody out there, look, when this is not necessarily about the normal players. This is not necessarily about people that are just interested in defense. And as Hondo says, if you don't know anything about the US Navy or the Royal Navy, that sort of doesn't matter. And in some ways, it's even more exciting because you can bring to us a different perspective, a different set of conversations, things that exist elsewhere, because we do not have a monopoly on good ideas, and we certainly don't have a monopoly on best practice. So I think if we want this tech bridge not to be just about tech, but to be about all of the things that add value in the bridge conversation between us and the US, and between us and industry, and us and academia, and us and anywhere else that's got a good idea. Frankly, I don't care if it comes from somebody in a garage that's just had a good idea, or actually it comes from one of the big primes that spent billions of dollars, inventing something. Doesn't matter. That diversity of thought and approach, I think, is absolutely key. And I know that you and I are absolutely on the same page.
And what's also nice there is, again, with this framework, we built on our side kind of a NavalX, the same thing you're building on your side. For those not familiar, these are kind of nodes on a larger network. Yesterday, we in the U.S. announced our 14th and 15th tech bridge, one out in Hawaii, kind of focused on resilient energy and some of the challenges looking west from Hawaii. Another one on the Gulf Coast, kind of on maritime sciences and whatnot. But again, some of the tech bridge isn't just between the US and UK, it's tech bridges to other tech bridges and other networks and accelerator programs and all that. I think with the end goal, I think between the both of us is we want to get an idea as fast as possible and as cheaply as possible to the right person to look at it, consider it, and act on it. And so, and really kind of get, we've had a little bit of a history of, one by one networks. I know Nick knows Hondo. But then when Nick moves or Hondo moves and that connection's broken, we really want network speed so that it's less about the person and more about getting clicked into the network, and then you can find the right person there. Now, I do want to thank you, Nick. I think like us, you guys are invested in some top talent there in the tech bridge. You're putting people out there. We've got between us two top-notch Navy commanders who both have experience and mindset that we need to help lead this. But they're not leading from a dictatorial kind of perspective. They're enablers. And so I think it will be exciting to see how these teams, now that we've given them the charge, can go off and show us what's really possible when we create conditions and then get out of the way. And I do want to thank you for the resources and the commitment you and the team there have had. Again, I think this will be, we're on the front end of something really, really exciting here.
Hondo, thanks very much, and it's a great pleasure to be part of this. I think you and I talk regularly. I think the teams talk regularly. I think we need to talk more regularly across a broader spectrum. As you say, I think the leadership has given us permission. That's the most important thing that they can do for us. Now they've stood out of the way. I think we in our teams have enabled the conversation, and then now we can stand out of the way, and now everybody can get on with the delivery and the work piece, and then you and I can take the credit.
We just want to see a difference in the sailor's mind, right? We want to see what gets out there. And again, I think tech bridge is not just one way to the fleet or to the deck plate. If there's deck plate ideas, it's also a way for them to connect in. So us two old geezers have been yammering for a while. Matt, any questions come up, or any areas that you're seeing of interest out there in chat land or folks you're connected to?
Yes, sir. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yep.
Yeah. So one we have is, what is a good way for, or is there a wrong company? I think you answered this earlier, Admiral Hines. Is there a wrong company to connect into this new London tech bridge?
Absolutely not.
Sure. Yeah, sorry, and I can say, I'll keep that even shorter. No.
That's fantastic. And if you don't mind, gentlemen, real quick, I'm going to bring on the two tech bridge directors really quick. You guys can introduce them. I think, as Admiral Hine said, you guys can take the credit at the end of the day, but I think these are the gentlemen that will be putting in some of the work. So, and you won't be able to see them on your screen, but now we've got Commander Bingham online and Commander Arnold are both online there now.
Yeah, I think, Matt, at this point, I was going to offer to the second Sealord, are there any kind of closing comments kind of to our theme of create conditions and then get out of the way? I think perhaps, let us have a quick thought here, and then we're going to get out of the way, get off the airwaves, and then let the two leaders we put in charge to go make this happen, go make it happen, and we'll be looking for results. So any kind of closing thoughts there from your perspective?
Thank you much indeed. I'm really pleased to be here. This is about the team. When I say we'll take credit, I mean that tongue in cheek, as you know, because actually it doesn't matter whether the outcome is not about us. The outcome is about getting stuff to the front line more quickly in order to make improvements on both of our sides of the Atlantic. So I'm really looking forward to that. Looking forward to seeing the first things that come through, and then you and I can hopefully get to do this in person next time over.
Yeah, no, thanks, buddy. I appreciate, again, great partnership here, shared vision, shared putting resources on the line. And then I think for all those out there, you've got two, we would call them footballers. You got two big guys here who love to remove obstacles and then watch you guys run through to the goal line. So don't be shy. If there's something getting in your way that you can't get around and you need some barrier removal, you've got two big guys here who love nothing better than to make holes for you guys to run through. So with that, Matt, we're going to sign off here, and we will turn it over to the two directors there, and then you guys can continue from there. All right, thanks, Matt.
Sounds great. Thanks all.
Nick.
All right, appreciate their time. And before we cut over to our next panel of special guests, real quickly, I'll just introduce Commander Bingham from the UK Royal Navy and Commander Al Arnold from the US Navy. And then as we switch over, we're going to cut to a quick video here with some other great messages.
Hi, I'm Captain Tim Thompson, Commodore of Task Force 67. I have operational and tactical control of all maritime patrol and reconnaissance aircraft here in the 6th Fleet AOR, including the P-8 that's behind me. I'm excited to announce the creation of London Tech Bridge. London Tech Bridge will provide an opportunity for academia, industry, and government to collaborate across the shared challenges the United States and UK navies face today. It's going to increase our interoperability and our interchangeability between our two navies, and it'll allow us to craft the fleet of the future. Bring innovation, robust collaboration between the UK, United States, and NATO allies. I'm excited to announce the creation of London Tech Bridge.
Good morning to you. My name's Mark Goldsack, and I'm the Director of United Kingdom Defence and Security Exports, and it's my great privilege today to welcome the US Navy and Commander Arnold and his team in particular to this session of the Tech Bridge. From our point of view, our organisation exists to support exactly this sort of event and to help our SME community join up effectively with users globally, and particularly users with whom we have a very close relationship. It's therefore a huge opportunity today to develop and further the deep links we already have with the US Navy, and I look forward to a really fruitful engagement during the course of the day and to a really fruitful engagement between our teams.
The US Navy and the Royal Navy have already built an incredible partnership that stretches from one side of the Atlantic to the other. But today, we are celebrating a brand new project which will bring us even closer together. Over the last year, the U.S. Navy has been on a mission across the U.S. They set up tech bridges in 12 American cities to find talented academics and entrepreneurs who are working on new technologies that could help keep us all safe. And their project has been so successful that now they want to expand it further. So, For the first time ever, the U.S. Navy is setting up a tech bridge abroad. And of course, it's always going to be right here in the United Kingdom. Not only is the UK our closest ally and military partner, it's also the home to some of the best universities and research institutes and some of the most innovative and creative businesses in the world. Based in central London, the London Tech Bridge will scour the UK looking for the very best of British technology. This represents a new era of collaboration, a new era of innovation, and a new era of prosperity and security for the people of both our countries. Our navies are working together to keep our competitive edge and to be ready for all challenges in the future. This is a great example of the special relationship.
It is fantastic to be part of this launch event. As the Director of Innovation in UK MOD, I am delighted that the Tech Bridge initiative is coming to London. It is a fantastic opportunity to further the partnership between UK and US innovation and between the US Navy and the Royal Navy. In order for innovation to have its full impact on defence capabilities, it is essential to bring together the capability requirements of the armed forces, the cutting-edge ideas from academia and small businesses, and the ideas and ability of major contractors to pull it all together for us onto platforms. The partners of London Tech Bridge show this in action. We're already working closely with Imperial College London through the Defence and Security Accelerator, so I'm delighted that they're part of this initiative as well. As we all know, it is also essential that allies work together to maximise the opportunities from innovation and to ensure that we can operate together in the future. I'm really looking forward to supporting this initiative, including through DASA, and I look forward to celebrating our successes in the future.
All right, fantastic. So we're going to first welcome Rear Admiral Loren Selby from the U.S. Navy. How you doing, sir?
I am doing fantastic, Matt. Good to see you today.
Excellent. And Admiral Selby here is the Chief of Naval Research for the United States Navy and Marine Corps. And now we're going to bring in Brigadier Cheeseman. How's it going, sir? We can't hear you on your end, sir.
There we go. That's probably better.
There we go.
I am pumped.
Excellent. We're excited to have you here. And Brigadier Cheeseman is from the UK Royal Navy, and he is the Chief Technology Officer out there. And we've also got Rear Admiral Andrew Burns. How you doing, sir?
Hi, Matt. I'm well, thank you.
Fantastic. And Admiral Burns is the Director of Development for the UK Royal Navy. Gentlemen, it's quite a day.
It is an awesome day.
It's a great day. Looking forward to it.
Fantastic. So we'll start with this question here. How can we talk about how naval science and technology can benefit from this tech bridge concept on both sides?
I'll start if that's okay, guys. So some thoughts for you. So, I've been talking about kind of where we are at this point in history for a while with my team. And I really think we're at a major convergence. And I think there's a major shift coming. And it has to do with everything you can think about with our autonomy, artificial intelligence, quantum, all these different things that are coming out of the S&T world, which will be, in your pocket one day soon, if not on a warship. And so those things are coming. And as they come racing at us, we have to step back and reimagine what we think naval power should look like in the future. That's the Navy and Marine Corps side. So we got to reimagine that, and we have to help our senior leaders help them see what it could be, should be, and then how we get there. And I think NavalX and the tech bridges are exactly the kind of thinking, different thinking, as you heard the second Sealord say, we need to think differently. This is how you do that. You reach out to different ecosystems with different ideas, different thought processes, different diversity, and that is going to help us get to that new reimagined naval power. And I think it's incredibly exciting that we're able to do this with our closest ally, the United Kingdom. Just the fact that we have co-directors now, a United States commander and a United Kingdom Royal Navy commander doing this together is incredibly powerful. And this will get after that interchangeability that our senior leaders just spoke to. Over to you guys.
Yeah, Lauren, thanks very much. And I think you've hit the nail on the head. I think it's imagining how we will deliver interchangeability in the future. What is the mix between the conventional forces we have now and the technology that we know is available, but we haven't really embraced fully yet? If we can demonstrate that we've got a clear vision of what that could look like, and then be really adaptive, and that's where this sort of curiosity comes in, then I think this will be a really successful initiative, is identifying those things which will deliver interchangeability. And that word, as you know, has run really strongly through the conversations we've been having whilst we've both been in post. And if we can identify the game changers that together we can put into the hands of the warfighter as fast as possible and really demonstrate some progress, that's the value of NavalX to me and the London Tech Bridge.
Reader Cheeseman, anything to add?
Yeah, I did just add one thing which I think is hopefully helpful for UK industry, UK academia listening, is that there's a lot to still think about, but we have money behind this. We will be launching challenges. We have spoken about a heavy lift maritime drone challenge. We are talking about an additive manufacturing challenge. We are talking about how to crowdsource those things, how to do the commercials so that we protect everybody's equity appropriately, but also we produce win-win for people in this. There are things that will also be singular to the Royal Navy and singular to the Department of the Navy, the US Navy and the US Marines that will flow through this portal across the Atlantic. And I think the best way perhaps to think about the two commanders, the two co-directors at the moment, perhaps for anybody interested in this organization, either side of the pond, is to treat them as Babel fish, as interpreters. If you do not know what the answer is to your question, then they are your go-to to find out. They may not know the answer yet because this is new and exciting, but they will absolutely be scurrying away to find out, and this will grow rapidly around that sort of approach. So I think that's quite a good way to think of the Tech Bridge as a portal, working both ways, and the co-directors as Babel fish, to use a hitchhike analogy.
Magnificent. And just for your gentlemen's awareness, we have about 630 people online with us right now, all over the world, which I think in itself is showing how excited people are about this partnership and the opportunities that are coming forward. With that, we've got a lot of folks online throwing all kinds of comments, questions, hellos from all across England, the UK, the US, all over the world, which is incredible in its own right.
Stir up that interest. That's good.
Yes, sir, definitely. And I think you've talked about the interoperability quite a bit, and that's fantastic. One question here is how, and this is, I don't want to go into the depths of COVID-19 and the pandemic we're in, but how do you plan to see this relationship working through the COVID era that we're in right now, where everything's pretty much remote?
I would say that this tool right here is just one of the examples. I mean, one of the things that I've been really impressed by over the last 6 or so months I've been in my current job as the Chief of Naval Research is our partnership with the United Kingdom has continued. Even though we couldn't travel, we have had several meetings. I think Annie and I were supposed to get together by now probably twice. We've had to cancel those because of the travel restrictions, but we've still been able to maintain momentum because we've used these types of forums, either this one or a classified version that we also have, to continue these dialogues, which are critically important. No, that's not the, I don't want that to always be that way, because I think that personal interaction is critical to progress and to innovation and to building relations in those networks that we've been talking about. But you can also supplement with these kind of tools to maintain momentum. So between those touch points, when you can't get together, you can have the virtual means to do it. I will tell you, just going back to my 30 so years experience here, previously, prior to this time, when we had relations with, let's say, United Kingdom in this case, we would have a great work up to a meeting that would happen maybe once or twice a year, and a lot of flurry of activity in that couple weeks up to that meeting. We'd have a great meeting, a lot of discussion, and then you would go months and it would be very, very quiet. And then you get close to the next one and there'd be a flurry of activity again. I think what we're seeing right now is because we have this ability to have this, really nearly continuous presence, if you want it, the focus and the pressure has been on to keep the momentum moving. And so we have to figure out how to feather this technology into the future when we can once again travel and get together to maintain that momentum between those visits. Over.
And Matt, taking your COVID example, who would have thought that we'd now have a vaccination being rolled out and delivered? I mean that is an extraordinary example of progress through collaboration across those nations who have been prepared to share scientific and medical data. And that's a good example of how we can break down convention, knock down the impediments that previously would have slowed progress towards a vaccination. And I think that's a great example of how we can collaborate through the tech bridge. And Lauren's absolutely right. We've maintained momentum because we haven't allowed the impediment of COVID-19 to slow us down. We've continued talking. And what we've done is we've identified some specific things, the most important things to us for interchangeability and cooperation, where we can genuinely show rapid progress. And I think the tech bridge will be an accelerant, a stimulant to doing even more of that and doing it even more quickly.
Just add from what the Admiral just said there, and we're very close on this point, of course, is that in UK, people who are UK industry here will know that there is a collection of innovation organizations out there, and sometimes industry will be saying that it is difficult to interpret which ones they should be speaking to, how they can land here and there and elsewhere. Claire Cameron, you saw in the video, runs DASA and the Defence Innovation Unit. That's a good touch point in with unsolicited bids and certain things that happen. And there's going to be a close relationship there between the tech bridge and DASA working well. Indeed, running the commercials will be run, some of the commercials will be run using DASA commercials, so that we don't have to reinvent things for industry and create new forms that you need to go and learn again. Similarly, down in Winfrith in Dorset, there is a multi services defence innovation centre coming together there between the Army and Stratcom and the Navy, and that's another touch point. But we're not going to be hidebound by physical presence. We've got a number of others, who Admiral Andy I'm sure will speak to as this matures. But specifically, we are designing into this so that you know where to find us, you know where the emails are, you know where the information is, you know where the website is, you know where the format is to apply for this, that, the other, and you will get a response to your questions. So it doesn't really matter physically where we are. So I think this is a very important, significant addition to our current ecosystem. We don't want it any tidier than that. Please don't ask us to make it any tidier, because it's good to be slightly chaotic, and that's just as well. Which you could also throw jam at us about, but that's where we're at, and that's what we like. And that is a stated intent of the UK Royal Navy at board level, that we will continue to invest in a wide ecosystem of touch points for UK industry and others. The other one, in terms of how are we going to survive in a world of COVID? Well, hopefully it's on a down. Discuss, fingers crossed. But from a UK industry perspective, please don't worry that during COVID we have struggled to spend our money. We have the opposite problem in the fact that we have spent a lot of our money, and we are now going, gosh, we thought this would be a bit harder than it was, but because of the powers of virtual working, because of the powers of online touch points, because of the increased agility of the Royal Navy and UK Defence, actually we have the nice opposite problem that we are almost spending money too fast. So where money is allocated, I don't see this being as a particular challenge. We have money allocated in year to this, starting off small, but we're in the hundreds of thousands to start off. We're going to try before you buy. We're going to learn by doing. We're going to show, not tell. We're going to determine where this goes. But then clearly, both sets of parents have got deep pockets as this rolls forward. So the amount of money is irrelevant. It is how we're going to do it, and I can reassure the people out there that we will be setting up opportunities for you to engage and benefit from that conversation.
Fantastic, and that actually led right into my next question perfectly. Was which you kind of already answered, which was if there's teams on both sides of the Atlantic where products can be quickly evaluated without the normal procurement procedures. I think that's where a lot of the concern comes from is, great, another way to submit things, but is it the same process that may take a company or a small company, as Admiral Hine spoke to a team in a garage who may not be able to get through the normal procedures and such. Any comments or thoughts on that?
Well, one of the things we've been trying to do with the tech bridges in the United States, and we'll do the same thing in London, is we're not trying to recreate processes or even organizations. We're trying to be a connector between existing processes, existing organizations, and be that facilitator who we kind of know the inside game. And so when someone comes to us from the outside who's not used to working with us, with the U.S. Navy or Marine Corps, we can now take that idea and fast track it to the right decision maker, in the Pentagon or NAVC or NAVAIR or wherever the appropriate places for that product. So again, we're not trying to recreate things. We're trying to be a connector and really an accelerator to get those ideas, from flash to bang much quicker than you traditionally could.
I'd offer just for that before that. Sorry, Admiral. Prince Al and the team will be able to explain to UK industry what the opportunities are to engage in the standing, already much more agile in some ways, American system in terms of how you go after some of these opportunities. So I won't speak to that. I'll leave that clearly to Admiral Selby and Prince Al. From our perspective, there are many and various commercial routes to going after things. One of them is data, as I've mentioned, in terms of open calls and named challenges. We also have a futures capabilities group in the defence exports, the DENS, in Bristol. And then we have the own direct approaches from my office and from Admiral Andy's teams and budgets that flow direct from the Navy headquarters. We have not yet landed on the Holy Grail. So one of the things that I think we are going to really benefit from as learning organizations by having this tech bridge is to glean the best of both worlds. What are we doing that's good? What are you doing that's good? Particularly when it comes to commercial and IP, which we need to get out on the table very clearly and very transparently for everybody. It's something that we're thinking about, of course, to how we collaborate on things so that we can then win-win. What's currently is not available in the UK ecosystem for entrepreneurs out there and companies who wish to engage with us, academia, is an ability to early compete, sift, down select, either by live demonstration or paper demonstration, gets to a vendor who we then can do gated iteration with to develop the technology as a cross-functional team doing sprints. And then at the end of that, then go, I want 200 of them. And that then turns into hundreds of millions of pounds. We're after that. And the heavy lifter maritime drone challenge that we mentioned a little while earlier is the thing that we are trying to use as the wrapper around this. And if we can crack it there, then we will certainly, from a UK perspective, be seeking to rinse and repeat that with further challenges downstream. So we're putting a lot of effort into the heavy lifter maritime drone challenge, details to follow, not necessarily just about the reasons why we're into 200 kilo plus lifting drones out at sea that are open architectures and payload agnostic, details to follow. It is the commercial approach and how we're going to work better as a UK community and better with the American Department of the Navy, perhaps, to do things that we could crowdsource and we could then just get after this in a much better way. I think we've all just seen SN8 exploding on the launch pad, having done its fantastic thing in the sky. That's baked into the design plan for how Elon is going faster. That's not how we think. So we, as Admiral Andy and I have been talking about regularly, how do we behave more like that? Don't just build £1 million something. Get enough money to build 20 of them or 15 of them, and use and break them and use and break them and use and break them, and then go and then put proper government money behind it. That's the thing I think that out there, academia, SMEs, and primes should all be excited about.
And our innovation needs to be mission led. And we need to be more open about what we think our problems are, those operational challenges that need solving by the widest possible audience, whether that's industry or academia or the military. And we're being increasingly flexible in the way we approach procurement. And there are some good examples, for instance, in the underwater battle space, where we've gone to some subject matter experts just to see what they could offer. And that has resulted in some very rapid contractual arrangements, which have then resulted in evidence to the warfighters in the front line that things are actually changing, and it's making their operational capability better at a much faster pace than we've been able to do before. whether that's a simple thing like the regularity of software drops into an architecture that already exists. So I think there are examples where we are becoming more flexible, more adaptable, more open to alternative arrangements. And as I said earlier, I think the tech bridge will be an accelerant and a stimulant to that.
Yeah, actually, and you just said something. It's, I think, important. Is it this connection to the warfighter, this connection to the user on the ship, in the field with the Marines? It's critical to make that tie early in this process, and that's one thing that TechBridge London will be able to actually lever. Is my ONR Global, which is also in London. We have an experimentation group, and we also have a bunch of science advisors that are stationed with the fleet, fleet commands and Marine Corps commands throughout the world. And that connection is vital as you come up with new ideas and think through new technology. That someone may walk in the street with something, we can then very quickly get that to somebody in the field, say, hey, could you use this? Is this something that can solve a problem today? And if they say yes, well, that also helps stimulate the entire process to make that thing go faster from guy walking in the door to handing it to that Marine in the field somewhere. So that's also an important part of this whole process.
Yeah, I agree. And no better way of stimulating that sort of activity than putting it in the hand of the operator as early as possible, even if that's just the 60% solution, because they're the best one to identify what the 80% looks like. And then we can go back to the experts, the technologists, industry, and spirally develop it. And that will be the way where we get to the 100% solution, whatever we think that is, far quicker than we've been able to do before.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Oh, that notorious mute button gets me every time. This is a fantastic conversation, gentlemen, and it's great to hear that as Admiral Selby knows, with the existing tech bridges, they are very in tune with the active duty Marines and sailors on the ground and inviting them to events. And there was a large agility summit that happened this year, ran by the tech bridges. That it was the teams were actually ran and operated by junior officers from the Navy. And so I imagine that same kind of involvement, and excited to hear that it's going to be coming from the UK side as well. Next comment here is how, and this may be for Prince Al and Commander Bingham here, or excuse me, Commander Arnold, call signs, Navy way. How can a small company link with the tech bridges? I can bring Commander Bingham in if you want to answer that, or Prince Al. You're on mute, Commander Bingham.
Sorry, yeah, there's quite a few opportunities we're hoping to line up for this, and it'll be a lot of coming along and showing us your magic, I think, and we'll do that via challenges, via maybe range opportunities, and even linking into some of the bigger exercises. You saw a really good example at the beginning with the AAF. That's part of what we're doing as iterative learning, and that's with companies that are coming along and working with us rather than just answering a requirement set, which would have been a more traditional approach. So I think hopefully what we'll be able to do is advertise a number of opportunities that play into that field, which are not going to require companies to have large, deep pockets to even get into the game. If you can turn up and do something that we're alluding to in those challenges, this is going to be your playing field. This is a place where you're going to come and shine, where maybe traditionally you've been maybe slightly scared to step onto the playing field, to use Secretary Geurts' an analogy. Al.
Yeah, completely agree, Alex. I think you got it right. We're going to put on a number of different facilitation events where we can bring in and allow access directly to sailors and Marines, and like Admiral Burns mentioned, the access to our mission kind of direction. We want to make sure that we have a dialogue back and forth with the entire innovation community out there, to really make sure that, it's clear what direction we want to go. And maybe we don't even know what direction we want to go. That's part of the whole conversation. We want to be opportunistic where we can. And that's where, having an open dialogue and open forum is very important.
Fantastic. Thank you, gentlemen. And so here's a question. And are you guys still there?
Here.
My computer just went blank.
Here.
Technology, yay. We're making it work. So we've talked a lot about the industry side, but one big thing TechBridges also covers is the academia partnerships. very heavily. If gentlemen, you can talk to that at all.
Well, we put the tech bridges in locations to really take advantage of kind of the confluence of industry, academia, and then Naval, Navy Marine Corps for us. So we try to find a place that makes sense. So for us, it tends to be near some of our warfare centers in the country. And then, of course, now we're making a foray into London. But we're trying to find ways to connect with both the academics, the industry, and that's small, big, middle-sized companies, the garage kind of analogy person as well. And then, of course, the military, the government side. And again, trying to connect those all together. And that's what Prince Al and Alex, that's bigger part of their charter, is to get out there and make those connections and bring that all together and make sure they understand there's a place where they can go with an idea and we can start connecting those dots together between these different entities. I think it's very powerful when you do that. The days of the government controlling innovation are that was like the 50s and 60s in the U.S. After World War II, the government, there was more R&D money. All the ideas came out of the major labs we did from World War II. That has slowly transitioned over the decades since then, and it is now really an industry and academia. And we've got to tap into those resources, or we're going to be left in the dust. And that's the charter of the groups like TechBridge to go do that.
So I'd love to back that up as well. One of the early things we'll be looking at doing is tying into some programs called Hacking for Defense in the US and Hacking for MOD in the UK. And this is a real opportunity to connect, people who are real mission-led problems from the headquarters. So rather than talking just to an esoteric technology, which of course we do as well. Actually, this gives real kind of access to some of those resources that we wouldn't traditionally tap into or as easily in this kind of format, where normally we come up with a very technical thing they need to solve for us. Whereas now we can walk in with a very open, we have this problem at the front line. How would you solve that as a AI specialist? How would you solve that as a graphic designer? I mean, who knows? How would you solve that as a materials specialist? And that's a real power that we've probably not really, maybe tapped into as well as we could have done in the past. So that's a really exciting opportunity. And Prince Al and I have already talked a little bit about how we might set up some challenges in the Hacking for Defense, Hacking for Mod world. So that's going to be a really exciting opportunity, I hope.
I just add to that, the CEO of DSTL, Gary Aikenhead, is fully on site for this. He and I spoke yesterday. So the UK military equivalent of the Pan Defence ONR that Admiral Selby runs is full square behind this and will be available. We have, through the auspices of NavalX, already increased our own direct engagement with the UK academia. So we are, for full transparency, we have a good relationship with Imperial, we have a good relationship with Strathclyde, and we have an improving relationship with Oxford and Portsmouth and Southampton. But that leaves a lot of others, and we've got more work to do. So hopefully the Tech Bridge will enable that there, and clearly a mutual relationship with ONR Global is a win-win, and we've probably got tentacles actually more directly involved with more UK universities than we have at the moment, because historically that was slightly outsourced to DSTL, and we're doing that in tandem now.
We're standing by to help you guys with those connections. Don't worry. So, team effort.
Fantastic. Well, as we close out, gentlemen, this has been a great conversation, both from Secretary Geurts, Vice Admiral Hines, and yourselves. Is there anything else? I'll kind of go around the room, start with Admiral Selby, then Admiral Burns, then Brigadier Cheeseman. Anything else to add as we close?
Yeah, thanks, Matt. Just real quick. So to really get after this interchangeability that we've talked about, and this is really important to do that. That is critical to, I think, our future success, both of our nations and both of our navies. We've got to start from the beginning. And I think the Tech Bridge is kind of that starting point. And an idea, whether it's on the U.S. side or the UK side, that we eventually want to turn into something that goes on a ship, a submarine, aircraft that our nations will fly. To make that truly interchangeable, you want to start from the beginning. You want to start with the science and technology through the research and development. And so as you develop those specs, those standards, the blueprint to make it, it's kind of the same. It may not look exactly the same because yours may be made in the UK and ours may be in the US, but if you start from the same blueprint and you got the same specs and standards going forward, when you come back together after you've built it in your respective locations, you have a far better chance they're going to be interchangeable than you ever would before. Okay, if you do it otherwise, you're going to be, even interoperable is hard. And we've experienced that. All of us experienced that. So I think the Tech Bridge is the beginning of that process, and it's critical to that success. So please, there's an email on the screen there. If you have questions about it, send emails to there, and Prince Al and his team and Alex will be able to answer those questions. But thank you very much, Matt.
Admiral Burns, anything to add, or Brigadier Cheeseman?
Well, I would just say this is all about what is it that's going to deliver operational advantage, and what does that operational advantage looks like when we're warfighting together, the US Navy and the Royal Navy. And the tech bridge is just part of the wider ecosystem, that untidy ecosystem that Dan referred to, that includes industry and academia and the military. And as Secretary Geurts said, this is also about culture and behavior. And hopefully we've signaled that culture and behavior is changing, and it's changing in a big way, where we're not accepting the impediments that have prevented us get at these things quickly in the past. That simply won't be acceptable. So the diversity of thinking is really important. We've got to be curious. And I think now we have the humility to accept that we don't have all the answers, but someone out there does. And that's why we're trying to create this ecosystem, with the tech bridge being a fundamental part of that. And tied in with this too is the willingness to learn, and learn quickly.
Nothing particularly to add from the two good admirals there. We've got a lot to learn. Babelfish interpreters, they're both on screen. Get in touch, and I think there'll be lots of opportunities. We don't understand half of it yet, in terms of American assets, British assets, joint exercises, joint challenges, joint technological developments, and then scalings to the hands of the warfighter. Otherwise, all of this is pointless, as has been made very clear already. Exciting times. Thank you for your attention today and your listening to us. Thank you.
Magnificent. And go ahead, Commander Arnold or Commander Bingham, as we go.
Yeah, just first off, I want to thank Mr. Geurts and Second Sealord again, and then all the senior leaders we have with us right now. Thank you for the tremendous support and enthusiasm, obviously, behind this great endeavor. I'm really looking forward to working with Alex as we try to capture all this tremendous potential here and bring it to bear. I would say that, echoing all the comments that have been made so far with regards to, we don't have all the answers now, but that's just kind of along the theme of what Mr. Geurts said. We want to move fast. Second Sealord said the same thing. So we're going to be developing those solutions while we're moving fast. And so, please be patient with us. We really want to work with you. And, we'll use the current tools we have now, like Admiral Selby mentioned, and it may be piece parts putting things together, but with the idea that, we're working together, we're in this together to build the right tools so we can do it even more efficiently in the future. So thank you.
And I think simply from me, I noticed there's about sort of 700, 800 people online. I've met about 10 of you so far. So I'm looking forward to reaching out to the rest of the ecosystem and hearing what you have to say, because definitely this is a great opportunity to learn more and get better. And that's the important part. As Second Sealord said, let's get better.
Magnificent. Well, thank you for everyone tuning in with us today. These videos are not going away. They will be available on the NavalX YouTube, LinkedIn, and Facebook, and we'll send them out even more channels than that. So appreciate everyone's time. And everyone have a great day. We'll see you.